Hey, welcome back. In this video, we're going deep on one of the most powerful features inside Zoho CRM, the blueprint. If you have been using Zoho for a while and you have heard about blueprint, but never fully understood it, or if you tried to set up one and it felt more complicated than it should, this video is for you. We are going to cover the whole thing. What a blueprint actually is and how it is structured, what happens during transitions, what conditions and actions you can set up at each stage, who can perform a transition and why it matters for your team, and the most common mistakes business owners make when they first build one. No Deluxe scripting, no developer content. This is for business owners and Zoho users who want to understand the tool fully and make use of it. Now, one important thing before we start. If you are watching this and thinking, okay, I understand how the tool works, but how do I design the actual business process that goes inside it? That is a completely separate skill, and it is honestly the other one. From all the thousands of Zoho partners out there, we are one of the only who's actually doing it. And we are going to show you how to do it as well in a different video series that we are creating right now. We are going to bring in multiple business consultants that are going to show you exactly in details from the first session and all the way to the last session, how we are receiving a new customer, how we are asking the right questions, how we are producing all that into a blueprint. So the blueprint eventually becomes a playbook. The blueprint is the tool, while the playbook is how the system is being used and how your employees are going to use it. That series is coming very soon. If you don't want to miss it, subscribe and click on the bell icon right now so you get notified the moment the first episode drops. But right now, let's talk about blueprint, the technicality of how to set up one and how to use one. First, we need to go to the blueprint section. The blueprint section can be found in the setup area. Now, this is my setup area on the right top. It might be on the left bottom, depending on your version. Zoho just like to move it around. So right now it's on the right side, but just know you need the gear icon, which is the setup. Once you go to the setup, just go to the search and just look for blueprints, and you will find it here. Once you're clicking on the blueprints, you will see all your existing blueprints. And one comment, sometimes you will create a blueprint and you won't find it anymore. In that case, you will need to click here on the modules and just select all modules, and then you will find them. This is a very common mistake that people will have one module selected. They will be super upset that they can't find it, but the problem is it's just filtering it. So go to all modules and you will see it. The next thing that I want you to do, you might have a few blueprints existing because Zoho gave you those blueprints out of the box. Just so you understand, every business works in a different way. Therefore, whatever was given to you doesn't worth much. It's not because Zoho is not a great system, it's just about Zoho provided you something out of the box that's matching most businesses. But if you want to take advantage of this great functionality, you will need to create one yourself. We are going to have a completely different session, a series of videos about how to design a blueprint. That will be the first thing. Once you have the design and you know exactly how your blueprint is going to work, Only then you do what we are doing in this video. For now, experiment. First, let's go to create a blueprint, and that will be the first button. Give it some kind of a name. Let's go, for example, with leads blueprint, and that will be the most basic one. So let's just write here, leads blueprint, and today is March 2026. And the module will be which module you want to work on. In my case, that will be the leads module, because we are working on the leads blueprint. Our leads are coming into the system. Ideally, for the lead system, I would like to have all the different leads options coming to one place. Social media, Facebook, Instagrams, newsletters, website, if you have landing pages, conferences, trade shows, I want to have all of them coming to one place, and then it's being distributed to the right manpower. This is ideally the best way possible. If you have lead sources that are not counted, then mistakes will start to come. People will assume that someone else is taking the job, and therefore you are going to lose lots of money. Next, you will have the layout. If you have multiple layouts, check my YouTube channel. You will have videos about layouts. You don't need to have multiple layouts. And if you do, probably you made a mistake. When you introduce multiple layouts to the system, you introduce more complexity, more ways of doing things. I prefer to have one layout with condition layouts on the screen, and therefore one layout can provide everything that you need with one layout. It's very important. Next, the blueprint will ask us how we like to implement the blueprint. Just so you know, a blueprint can be implemented on a drop-down, not multi-drop-down, a single drop-down, such as lead status. In this case, would you like to invite lead to the meeting, which this is a field, the drop-down apparently, and you have more. In my case, I'm going to go with the lead status, which the idea is that whenever lead comes in, the status is empty, there is nothing there. And as you work with the lead status will change. In my case, I'm going to have the lead status as the drop-down that the blueprint is going to be work based on, which means new lead came in. At that moment, the lead will have no status, and this is the beginning of the blueprint. And then as we click on the different buttons that you will see, those buttons will change the lead status automatically. So it will be great for reporting and great for people who are actually working with the leads blueprint. Okay, so let's go with the leads blueprint. Next, you can define criteria. In this case, for example, I can say that only if a lead owner is a specific one, so let's say John, only then this lead blueprint will be activated. Or I can say that only leads that coming from Facebook will be activated. In reality, 99% you will need to have here none, which means this lead blueprint will be activated for the entire company. And let's click on next. Now we are on the canvas. The canvas will allow us to design the blueprint. It usually will be a bunch of buttons. Now, very important to understand, when you design this blueprint, it will be a subset of your architecture, which means if I designed an architecture that will look in a certain way, this blueprint will look exactly the same. In my case, I don't have one because this is going to be a completely different video, but just so you know, this is how it usually works. On the right side, you will see the different lead statuses because we selected the field to be lead status, and those will be all the different states, which means all the different values. In this case, if you want to work with them, you will just need to drag them into the canvas. If you want to add new ones, for example, if I would like to have missed 5, then I will click here on the plus button and I will be able to create a new one. And that will be additional lead status. In my case, I will stay as is. Let's assume that in this example, when a new lead comes in, we are going to start working with it and we will give our user 3 different options. Option number 1, we try to call this new lead and there was no answer, which means it will be deemed as missed one. Another option, we try to call the lead and we are talking to them, and that means contacted. And another option, we try to call the person and they requested the callback because they are busy right now. That will be contact in future. So let's drop option number 1, which is contact in future. Option number 2 will be missed one. And option number 3, will be contacted. I just refreshed the page and this is why they went down. Now, if I click in on none, which this is the way that all the leads are coming in, you will see that you have your bubbles. If I will click on the bubbles and I will keep it clicked, you will see that I can drag and drop the arrow, which means one option will be contact in the future, another one will be missed one, because the reason I have missed one, because I'm not calling someone, a new lead, and if they don't answer, I ignore them. I will call second time, third time, fourth time. In 2025, the average attempts were 13. So if you're not having, let's say, 13 attempts, you're not even playing the game. Very important. So this is missed one and not just missed. And then contacted means I call them and we're talking. Now, just so you understand, those will be the states. So those states will be just the lead statuses, but there is no functionality behind them. In order to have some kind of functionality, I will need to click on the plus button and create a transition. As an example, for contacted, I will click here and I will provide it a name, contacted, and I will click on save. For missed one, I will write here call attempt 1. And for contact in future, I can have this name or any other name. Now, before I click on save, I want you to see a few things. One, you will have different colors, which means if it's a regular transition, it will be blue. If it's something negative, I will have red. And if it's positive, I will have green. So for this one, it will still be blue, but for contacted, I will probably change it to green because it's a very positive thing. Now, if I click on the canvas again, you will see that I have more options. One of them will be also junk lead. So there is a chance that also I will call this person and they will offer me SEO services, which means it's not really a lead, they're trying to sell me something. I will click on the plus button and I will change to junk lead. Now, in our systems, for example, when we are creating blueprints, we are differentiating junk lead from lost lead. Junk lead is someone that is not related to us in any way, and that will be red. But lost lead is someone that is a good lead, but the problem is that this lead was lost because we did something wrong, price is incorrect, no human connection, out of area, anything that we can learn from. For example, when I used to have an appliance repair company, I saw that many leads were out of area. I learned which areas are required, and I opened new areas, which gave the company a huge boost in terms of sales, because now we have new areas that people actually want. Okay, so those lost leads will not be considered junk. Those are just real lost leads. Now, each one of those transitions eventually will lead to more transitions. As an example, if I had first attempt and this person didn't pick up, I will try to call again tomorrow, which that will be miss 2. So you can see that one transition is leading to another, and I will name it attempt 2, for example. This is call attempt. Let's stay consistent. Okay, call attempt 2. Beautiful. Okay, so each one of them will lead to another, which eventually, if let's say I had 15 attempts here, after the 15, I will have lost lead. Now you can see that I don't allow my employees to click on lost lead from the beginning, because lost lead can be only when they try to have all the attempts, right? You don't want your employees to go from none and click on lost lead. How can it be a lost lead if you didn't spoke to the person, or you didn't try to call 15 times or 5 times, or in this case 2 times? Now, after contacted, there is a chance that this is going to be a junk lead, or it can be a lost lead, or you may be converted into an opportunity. Now, about conversion, I have many videos about when to convert and how to convert. You can search my YouTube channel, but for now, let's talk about a lead that can be converted. Now, when I click on create transition, I already have here a transition named junk lead. I don't want to replicate it and create another one. So when you click on it and you start to write junk lead, you will see that you have an existing one. Just select the existing one, and then the system will know what to do with it. Okay? Even though that it's gone, it's all good. Okay? You see that you have here beside a junk lead, it says C, which is a common transition. Those common transitions are aggregating multiple transitions inside them. This is why it shows with a C. Now, also here, a lost lead is already created. I will click on the plus button. And also here, when I will write lost lead, you will see that it's already a common transition as well. We'll click on save, and then it will be entered again. And you can see that here I have lost transition. The next thing that I want to show you is what to do with those buttons, because right now those buttons means nothing. If I will go ahead and publish this blueprint, and I will need to disable the rest of them and keep only that. So give me a second. Let's deactivate all the leads. Okay, so if I go to the lead system and I create a new lead, and let's call it Leor Isaac, and there will be some kind of an email. Okay, so if I click on save, you can see that you have here the different transitions. And when you click on a transition, nothing really happens. There is no functionality behind it. So in our case, we are going to go back to the blueprint and we are going to start creating some functionality behind them. For call attempt, as an example, if I go to call attempt 1, you can see that I have here before, during, and after. The before will show which employees can access those blueprint buttons, In this case, you can see that you have the record owner, and that's by default. But if you click on this person, you can have specific users, and you can have also specific roles, groups, and portals. In my case, I will always go with groups because I don't want to set any functionality to a specific person. I want to set functionality to a group. For example, the sales group. And then if you have one person, it's great. But if you have in the future 10, all the 10 can access it. Okay, so you can just click on add and you can click on save. And now it will be here. In addition, you can also create some criteria that's more advanced, but the idea behind the criteria is that if something happens in the system, only then the user can see it. For example, only if the lead source is Facebook and the status is call attempt 1, only then the user will be able to see it. It's advanced, don't touch it. As for during will show you everything that you can do once the button is clicked, which means if I have in call attempt, I will add a field. For example, let's say, I don't know if I have a follow-up, I do. If I have a follow-up date as an example, and I click on republish, if I will click on call attempt 1, the system will ask when is the next follow-up. So this is how fields are being presented. And let's go back here. So your options in the during is to show different fields. You can show different tags. And fields, by the way, you are limited, I think, to 10 or something like that. You can also present some kind of a message. For example, click on the company name and select a date, whatever makes sense for you. You can also associate different items such as tasks, for example, or notes or calls. And you have a bunch of different options that you can have as associated items. You can have checklists. Those are very cool. So let's say to do, upload credit card, and also upload driving license. This is a message, select a follow-up date. Let's republish. We'll go here, we'll click on refresh. So if I click now on call attempt, you will see that I have here the message. I will have the field, and I will have also the checklists. And the checklist will be upload credit card. And if I don't select it and click on save, it won't let me proceed. And usually when there is a big process, I really like to work with checklist. It's showing you that the employees are doing what they should, and if they're just clicking on that, they will get a big baseball bat. Okay, very good. Let's continue. We have a few more options. If you click here on during, you will also have a way for a widget. I'm a huge fan of a widget. That's for a different session. I have a bunch of widgets on the channel that I can show you. A widget will be additional functionality from the Zoho, from any world into the Zoho world. As an example, let's say I work with a company and they have a third-party company that is doing their quotation system. I can take their quotation system and have their quotation system in Zoho CRM, which means whenever the team is creating a quote, they will create it from the third-party system while they're still in Zoho CRM. Super powerful. A kiosk, we'll talk about it in a different session. We already have videos on that in the system, but a kiosk is similar to a blueprint with much more functionality. Little bit different functionality, but there is functionality. You can do a lot with the blueprint. Next is the after. The after is what happens when the transition is over, which means I was here, I was a good boy, I entered the date, I entered the checklist, and now I clicked on save. When I clicked on save and it's moving to the next screen, this is the after. What happens after the transition is clicked? You can send email notifications, okay? You can or associate existing one, or you can create ones, you can create tasks, you can create meetings, create calls, update different fields. For example, when I click on Miss 2, it can automatically set up a field require a call required. Create a record, you can create another record in a different related module. Super powerful. For example, create a task. Call this person. You can send webhooks to a third-party systems. Create custom actions with Deluge. Assign tags and more. Super, super beneficial. The blueprint is as good as the playbook. And let me show you a playbook. For example, this is an architecture of a lead system. The first level is how leads are coming in, and then the leads assignment, and then the leads work, basically the buttons that I showed you. So if I go to the buttons that I showed you, when leads coming in, an SLA will start working, which means if the employee is not responding on time, then the management will get notifications about that, or it will be automatically reassigned to a different employee. So this lead will not be orphaned. 3 buttons will show. You will have junk lead, like we did before, contacted, and contact with no response, which is like missed one. And in those cases, I have here the data entry. What happens when you click on the button? The system is asking any automation follow-up required, which means sending an automatic text message, sending automatic SMS, sending a webhook, WhatsApp message, and so on. What will be the after? Any automation, the after. Here it will automatically set a follow-up date. For example, we have a follow-up system that we designed. It's under a patent. So when we are selling our systems, we always have the follow-up system there because it's fantastic and it's replacing the tasks system. Okay, so this is why you see the next follow-up. Who can see it? What is the before, which is accessible by groups, all users. Anybody in the company can access it. Okay, and also the color. So you can see that when we are designing something with our clients, we always have this design in place so the developer can execute and not think. Developers not supposed to create those architectures. Developers supposed to execute based on those architectures. And that was the blueprint. You now understand how it is structured, what happens at every stage, and what you can control before, during, and after every transition. That is more than most users ever take the time to learn. Now, here is the most important thing to take away from this video. A blueprint is as good as the process you put inside it. The tool is the easy part. Designing the business logic, the stages, the rules, the conditions that actually reflects how your business works in real life. That is the hard part. And that is exactly what is coming next. The playbook series is almost ready. We are currently filming it. Multiple consultants, a real company, a real engagement filmed live. Exactly the way we run it for our own clients at Amazing Business Results. You are going to watch a business get mapped, designed, and fully implemented inside Zoho from scratch. Every stage of the process on camera. The consulting sessions, the architecture review, the handover to the development team, and the live blueprint being built. Subscribe and click the bell icon so you don't miss the first episode. And if you want to go through this process with our team at Amazing Business Results for your own business, click in the description below or just scan the QR code on screen. I will see you in the next video.